Have you ever asked your parents for a pet? And the response every time is, do you have any idea how much work it is to have a pet? Well, now's your chance to learn some of the different things you'll need to think about before getting your own pet. Avoid impulse decisions. A lot of times people get really excited about getting a new pet. It's something to play with, something to take care of, something to give a lot of your time to. But even though they're fun, they do take a lot of time and a lot of responsibility. Here's a bunch of questions that you'll want to ask yourself. One of which should be, why do you want a pet? Do you want a pet to be a companion, someone to hang out with you, someone to play, someone to get exercise with? And do you have enough time for a pet? A lot of us, even though maybe you think you have time, you're still going to need help from your parents in order to take care of a pet of any sort. So you need to make sure that you have enough time to give to that pet. Just like humans, you need a lot of love and affection and someone to take care of you. Can you afford a pet? Pets are also really expensive. Again, comparing to yourself, we need to eat, we need a place to live, and we need toys. Dog food can get expensive, toys can get expensive, and just like you probably like having a lot of toys. Sometimes we break them, sometimes they rip them up, and you have to buy new ones. Another thing to think of that we'll look at later is vets. Dogs have to get shots and different immunizations every year to make sure that they stay healthy. Do you have enough space for a pet? As long as you have a home to live in, you'll have space for a pet, but you have to think about what size of pet. If I have a little bedroom, I probably don't want to have a giant fish tank for a bunch of fish, so maybe you'd want to start small. If you live in maybe an apartment, some apartments don't want big dogs living in them, so you can have a dog, but you can only have a small one or one up to a certain size. So you have to think about the space you're living in and if you have enough room for that specific pet. Are pets allowed where you live? Like mentioned in the last slide, a lot of apartments and certain areas out there have restrictions on what animals you can have. Some complexes say that you can only have dogs under 45 pounds, or maybe only certain breeds. So you have to make sure you check to make sure that it's okay to have a pet where you live. Who will watch your pet when you can't? Some of us like to go on vacation, and you can't take your pet with you, whether it's a fish, a rabbit, a cat, or a dog. So you need to make sure that you have somebody to care for them while you're gone. Maybe you like to go to grandma's for the weekend, but grandma's allergic to dogs. Double check and make sure that you have someone who can still feed your animal and take care of them while you're gone. What will my pet need from me, and can I take care of its needs? As mentioned before, a lot of times you can compare having a pet to what your needs are yourself. Do you like to sit around and have nothing to do? Do you like to have video games? Do you like to go outside? Your pets are probably going to be the same way. If you have a dog, they need exercise. They like to run around outside, go on walks. They also need food, and they need shelter and a place to live, very similar to what your needs are. They need time too. So if you're somebody who's busy all the time, you're in lots and lots of sports, you go to your friends all the time, you have to decide, is it worth it to be gone from them all the time? Or can I give up some of my time for my sports and my friends to make sure I take care of my dog or my cat and give them the love and attention that they deserve? There's all sorts of different pets. I personally like dogs, that's my favorite pet, but there's so many other types of pets that could be right for you. There's cats, which are loving and affectionate, and a lot of homes and apartments and places like that will allow cats. You could have a lizard. You could have a guinea pig, which is a smaller option. There's birds, fish, rabbits, and even some people have horses as pets. One thing to think about is local leash laws. If you have a dog and you like to take them on walks, maybe you like to go to the dog park. There's a lot of times you'll see signs similar to this one on here that talk about how your dog has to be on a leash. Maybe my dog is really friendly and loves all other dogs, but not all dogs like other dogs, and they could be mean. So it's important to make sure that you follow rules for your dogs and have them on leashes to not only protect yourself, but the other dogs and other people around you. Some signs also say that you have to make sure that you clean up after your pet, and we'll get to that in a minute. Training your pet is really important. This is another one that mostly pertains to dogs. If you have dogs, sometimes they like to have a mind of their own, and they like to think they run the show. So taking your dog to training classes is really important to make sure that they know how to behave well. Training classes teach them how to sit, how to stay, how to go down, and maybe even some tricks like this dog here with giving a paw and handshake. Spaying and neutering your pet is important. It's a surgical procedure that helps keep them safe and healthy into their old age. Providing for your pet's needs. Again, a lot of times your pet's needs are similar to what you need yourself. Animals need toys to play with. You get bored, especially now during these times when you're stuck at home a lot more than often. This cat here has a scratching post. It has a little ball that sticks off of it that he can bat. Dogs can have squeaker toys or soft toys or maybe some tennis balls to play with. Horses. If you are someone who had a horse as a pet, horses are bred and known that they need their exercise. Their main focus is to run and move. So having your horse go through and run and move and get exercise during the day is really important. This mouse over here, same thing with a guinea pig or a hamster. They a lot of times have hamster wheels on here. You can't take a hamster or a guinea pig on a walk, but if you give them one of these wheels, they run inside of it like this little guy does here, and they get their exercise that way. Cats and dogs and any other animal needs food and water. It's important to make sure that you understand not only how often to give your pet food, but how much. If you give them too much food, just like us, they can get overweight and they can get too fat, which is also not very healthy for them. Last thing on here would be obviously taking dogs or animals that can go outside on walks. They need exercise. It also makes them sleepy later. Vet care is really, really important for your animals. Going to the vet is just like going to the doctor. You probably go for a checkup every year, maybe right before you go back to school, and your animals need to do the same. Dogs, cats, and some other animals need to go to the vet every year to get their shots. Those shots keep them healthy, not only for themselves, but also for you around other people. The vet, same thing as the doctor, will also go through and check to make sure that they don't have any other health problems, such as lumps and bumps on them, and check their blood work. Cleaning up after your pet is really important too. Have you ever gone on a walk and you see a big smelly pile of poop on the side? I know I don't like seeing that, and I know I don't like smelling that either. So it's important to make sure that you're a good citizen and you pick up after your dog. Some parks, like this one here, will have little boxes out that provide bags for you to pick up your dog's waste in case you forget one. But it's important to make sure that you plan ahead and bring any type of waste bags with you so that they have something to pick that up with. Identifying your pet is also really important. This little teeny tiny thing here is called a microchip. That microchip, when you adopt a dog, is implanted right in a dog's neck. Thankfully, it does not hurt them or bother them. They don't even know that it's in there. But what this microchip does is it has the information of where your dog was adopted from. So say, for example, this guy here sees, hey, mom and dad left the gate open. I'm going to go for a run. He leaves, and then he's a lost dog. So his family's looking all over for him, and somebody finds him. They could scan his neck. They'll find that little chip right there, and they'll know whose owner it is so they can get him back to you. So this is important to keep your dog safe. So if they get lost, they can come back home to you. Places to find pets who need home. The biggest and best place to get pets is from a shelter. Dogs like this guy here, he had a home at one point in time in his life, but it may not have been a good match or they were not able to care for him anymore. So sadly, some animals, dogs and cats, find themselves in shelters. It's there where they wait, sometimes only a couple days, and some dogs, unfortunately, months to years for a new family and a new home. But they need new homes just as much as anybody else. So going to shelters to find those pets, dogs, again, and cats who have no homes is really important to make sure that they have love from a new family. National Pet Week is always the first week of May, so make sure if you have a pet that you give them some extra attention. Any extra questions that you may have, you want to bring these questions to mom and dad because you want a pet, make sure you do your research ahead of time. If you have any other ideas or things that you want to know about a specific pet or what to do with them, maybe what type of home they need, just do a little search online. Do your research before talking to your parents, and hopefully that all works out for you in the end.